Hi there. It's late fall and it's kind of a spooky time of year, and it's a time of year when a lot of cultures have sort of holidays and celebrations around spooky stuff. So I thought it might be fun to do a horror story this week. This one is called The Crossroads, and it's written by Chris Grabenstein. If that name sounds familiar to you, it's the same author that wrote Mr. Lemoncello's Library and that whole series. But this is very different from Mr. Lemoncello's Library because it's a story about a ghost who is actually a killer ghost. So, and it also has one of the best first lines of any book. So let's get into The Crossroads. So this book starts with a prologue. A prologue is kind of like a teaser at the beginning of a book to really get you enticed. It can be something that takes place towards the beginning of a book, but sometimes it's something that kind of ties into something that's later in the book. So it can be kind of a prequel, but it's not always. Sometimes it actually ties into something later. It's just to get you really hooked. So this book, I think, has a great prologue, and it starts like this. Have you ever seen a face hidden in the bark of a tree and known that the man trapped inside wanted to hurt you? Isn't that the best first line? I just think that's awesome. Okay, I'll stop talking. I'll just read. That's what Zach Jennings had always wanted to ask his father, but he never did because he was afraid his dad would think he was just letting his imagination run wild again. Except this time, Zach was pretty certain he had seen a man's face hidden inside this huge gnarly tree over in the small park ringing the American Museum of Natural History. Other kids might have seen lumpy bumps and knotholes. Zach saw angry eyes and a snarling mouth. But Zach never did ask his father. Instead, he asked Mrs. Donna Schlamp, the librarian at his school, if she thought reincarnation extended to plants as well as animals. Could people come back as a tree or just as cows or some kind of bug? Mrs. Schlamp, who had a graduate degree in comparative theology but never got to use it except at dinner parties, said that yes, some religions believed tormented souls could become trapped inside elements of nature, most especially trees. So, according to one adult who'd been to college, the oak in the park could indeed have an anguished soul trapped beneath its bark. Thanks a bunch, Mrs. Schlamp. Fortunately, Zach and his dad were leaving New York City pretty soon. They were moving up to Connecticut right after his dad got married again. That tree in the park, it wasn't coming with them. But maybe Mrs. Schlamp could go visit it from time to time. Chapter 1. Billy O'Clair was dog tired. He'd been trying to fix the toilet in the brand new house for over 6 hours, and the weather outside was extremely hot and muggy, especially for the Friday before Memorial Day. Billy was sweating up a storm. Since nobody lived in the new house yet, they hadn't turned on the air conditioning. His work shirt was a soppy sheet of wet cotton with full moon stains oozing down below both armpits. It was 9 p.m. He tightened one last nut, then gave the trip handle of the toilet a flick. Instead of the customary whoosh of water swirling in the bowl, Billy heard a roaring gurgle. The toilet was working backward. He raised the lid and saw a commode burping up chunks of brown gunk, leaves, dirt, twigs. Nothing else, thank heaven, because nobody had actually used the toilet yet. This woodsy debris had to be seeping in from a cracked sewer line, and Billy realized they might have to rip up the newly sodded lawn to fix the drain pipe ruptured, most likely by tree roots. But that was a Monday morning kind of problem. Fortunately, it was Friday night, and Billy was finished working for the week. He cranked the shutoff valve behind the toilet and went out to the driveway, where he had parked his pickup, the one with Eau Claire's plumbing painted on the door over where it used to say Eau Claire's painting, and before that, Eau Claire's satellite television repair. Billy sat in the cab and drank half a gallon of water out of a glugging plastic jug and aimed two of the truck's air conditioning vents up at his armpits. It felt good, real good. He yawned and thought about grabbing a quick nap. Instead, he slammed the transmission into reverse and backed out of the driveway, not realizing that something wicked was lurking a little ways down the road, just waiting for the next dog-tired driver to come along. A flashing red stoplight hung suspended over the intersection where County Road 13 crossed Connecticut State Highway 31. A gigantic oak tree stood near one corner, and its highest branch, as thick around as the trunk of any ordinary tree, suddenly started to move. No wind was blowing. No sports car zooming past had sent up a swirling wake, but the massive limb began to bend and rotate. It sensed an easy target approaching and, longing for a little fun, tore itself against itself, slowly at first, then with gathering speed. When the final strands ripped free, the bough broke off and fell like a 2-ton truck, tearing down the blinking beacon. Then the tree stopped moving. Billy O'Clair remembered that there used to be a flashing red stoplight hanging over the intersection of 13 and 31. Tonight, however, there wasn't one. Good. Billy didn't want to stop. He needed to find a bathroom. Bad. Chugging a half a gallon of water straight from the jug will do that to you. And he preferred a bathroom where the toilet didn't gurgle back at him. He pressed down on the gas pedal. "How dry I am," he crooned off key. "How wet I'll be if I don't find—" Suddenly, he saw someone standing in the middle of the road. A cop, a motorcycle cop, holding his hand and commanding Billy to stop. So Billy slammed on his brakes and the pickup skidded sideways. Tires screeched. The truck swerved and he almost hooked onto the bumper of a car he hadn't even seen coming. He spun around and wound up on the far side of the intersection, backward and straddling a ditch. Billy wasn't injured, just totally dazed. He could see the taillights of the car he had nearly hit as it zoomed up the highway. Glancing at his rearview mirror, he saw the cop standing next to his motorbike, which was very weird looking. It had a moon-faced headlight and chrome fenders swooping up over its tires. "It's from the 1950s, Billy thought, an old Harley Softail." Billy liked old motorcycles. Wished he had one right now so he could hightail it out of there before the cop came over and started hassling him. Then Billy realized the cop's uniform and hat looked old-fashioned, too. It looks like he's from some black and white movie, one of those old monster movies where the police try to capture Godzilla. The cop marched slowly toward the truck. Billy strained to see if it was anybody he knew, thinking this was some kind of practical joke. He tried to see the cop's face, only the cop didn't have one. He had a crew cut and mirrored sunglasses and ears, but no face. Billy jerked up on his door handle hard. When it wouldn't budge, he kicked the door open. He screamed once and scrambled out of the truck and ran as fast as he could up the highway. The police officer didn't care about Billy O'Clair, didn't chase after him. His job was done for the night. He had prevented a horrible, possibly fatal collision, something he had tried to do once before, June 21st, 1958, the day he had died. So, if you want to find out more about what happens to Zach or Billy or anybody else at the Crossroads, you can check out this book at our school library in the horror and paranormal section. And if you like this one, Chris Grabenstein also has another series in the horror section called Haunted Mysteries. You might want to check that one out too.